Anyone in the world can now launch a ransomware attack against you, and all they need is the Tor browser and a little bit of cryptocurrency. In fact, some of the more sophisticated ransomware as a service portals will actually tell an attacker how many attacks they've launched, how many files have been encrypted, and how much they've been paid. And now they're starting to use AI to make this even more sophisticated. I'm not going to throw out big numbers and stats to you. What I am going to say is that most companies are not taking enough care of the one thing that the attackers are after: your data. So let me ask you a few questions. If an attacker breached your multiple layers of security and managed to get onto your storage array, what protection do you have there to stop them from doing any damage? Do you have multi-factor authentication in place, such that it requires multiple administrators to approve any data deletion or volume deletion? Is your data encrypted, such that it can't be changed? Is your recovery immutable, such that if somebody compromised your primary storage, at least you've got a point that you can go back to that is recoverable from? And is your data and storage environment proactively looking for any anomalies and then triggering automated responses, such as taking a snapshot? If your answer to any of those questions is no, or even I'm not sure, then you need to keep watching.
Ransomware attacks are becoming more and more prevalent. They are increasing in frequency, scope. Now, these gangs are actively targeting manufacturing plants and what have you, because they realise that actually, if they bring down a manufacturing plant, even just for an hour or so, they can cause millions of pounds worth of damage, and therefore they are more likely to get paid the ransom. So the convergence between IT and OT and connecting all that operational technology to the internet is making the attack surface much, broader, and therefore the opportunity for the threat actors is expanding.
So the type and quantity of attacks just keeps increasing. We've got phishing attacks, ransomware attacks, password attacks, SQL injection attacks. We've got URL interpretation. We've got session hijacking. You need capabilities at many levels to be able to protect against these attacks. And an intelligent data infrastructure is specifically there to make sure that these attacks can't encrypt or delete the most important thing you have, which is your data.
It really is a case of when you're going to suffer a cyber attack and not if you're going to suffer a cyber attack these days. And I think we're moving towards cyber resilience being spoken about rather than cyber security. And that's more about, the full being prepared for, being able to respond to, and being able to recover from a cyber incident. If we get to that point where we're thinking about security before we're even developing a new technology or, a new way of using a technology, then when it's baked in from the start, we hopefully will have more resilience in the future as time goes on. So we need to be kind of future ready.
What if you could have a data and storage architecture that's using AI-based ransomware protection to look for anomalous activities and is then triggering automated responses such as a snapshot and locking it so that it cannot be removed? That has truly immutable storage where no one, not even the administrator, can delete data or the volumes that it lives on. And that integrates with your zero trust architecture by offering multi-factor authentication for tasks such as deleting volumes. And then the ability to restore petabytes of data in minutes, locally or remotely, to accelerate your operational recovery. Let me leave you with some pretty sobering statistics. Over 72% of organizations tell us that ransomware attacks are becoming more sophisticated and more difficult to recover from, and they're happening every 11 seconds. Cost of recovery? $1.4 million. And in fact, organizations also tell us that in many cases, up to 39% of the data is never recovered, even though the recovery process takes more than a month. So what do? You can be the business defender. If you build your intelligent data infrastructure with NetApp, you can protect against some of these threats. So my simple question is, what's stopping you?